You do, amen. Come on, give the Lord a hand praise for our pastor.
Appreciate you. Get your Bibles, if you will, and let's go directly into the Word that we can utilize our time wisely. Somebody said, I have so much to thank the Lord for. I just can't tell it all. I just can't tell it all. Somebody else turned around and said, the Lord been good to me. All the days of my life. The old lady said, don't leave me out. He said, he brought me from a mighty long way. Mother Bland, you know it's something when you're not ashamed. Paul declared it, Brother Brimley, in Romans, the first chapter, the 16th verse. He said, for I'm not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power. You ever been in a shape where you wanted to do something, but you didn't have the power to do it? And Paul found that power one day. He said, it is the power of God unto salvation, to the Jew first and then the Greek. You see, the Jew was first, but the Jew lost his place. Israel was married to God. As I get older, Mother Nunn, I understand just how serious marriage is. When you see that it's going to end one day. It's going to end one day. You begin to enjoy it more. You know, you walk around like it's going to be like this always. And when you realize that no matter how good it is, there's an end to all of it. And so then you just have to lean and trust and depend upon God. I wanted to look at Jeremiah, but I want to look over here at Ezekiel. Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter. You see, God is a serious God. And I'm so glad. Because if you don't watch it, you be around people that play too much. If you don't watch it. When I was trying to get off that cocaine, I told him, I said, look, your life might be funny, but mine not. You know, when you're younger, Jeremy, you know, people, oh, you crazy. You crazy. No, I ain't crazy. I'm not crazy. And I've got to get in line with God. And I was thinking, Lady Deborah, what a blessing it is to have a man to be out here at Bible study tonight. You don't take it for granted, Madeline. Many people, most people, don't have a man to come out in order to get the only thing that's going to help them. The only thing going to help them. People get caught up in material things. And I was talking to Pastor Percy on the way down here. I said, well, you know, we get to enjoy really more material stuff than the average person does. I'd have had just about everything that a poor Negro wants. But none of it mean anything if God isn't the head of your life. If God isn't the head of your life. Say amen for Miss Sims back there, Latasha Sims. God bless you. Got a text the other day that she'll be graduating, I think, May 2018. As a registered nurse. I ain't even all that happy, but I'm going to stand up in the chair about that. You see, when you get this thing on the Bible order, so you can be happy with other people. You know, if you still to the state that it hurts you for other folks to have something, you ain't got it right yet. You still see men as trees. God can bless you where it won't hurt you to see somebody else be blessed. I promise you he can. He can get you to the place that you can rejoice with them that rejoice and mourn with them that mourn. He'll get you to the place that you care about people. Yeah, that you care about them. Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter, look what he says here. See, he had Ezekiel to make his forehead as flint. And if you're going to stand, you can't be so thin-skinned because there's so many hurts that come with life. So many hurts and many disappointments, and it's not going to be like you think. But if you just keep your hand in God's hand, God will take you through whatever. And you look at a lot of people and you see them being successful, but you see the glory, but you really need them to share their story with you. You really need them to tell you the things that they went through, and you would have said, I never would have thought that y'all had to do that y'all didn't, you had soup and didn't have crackers. You had cereal, but you didn't have milk. I never would have thought that you would have done that or made that kind of mistake, but God looked past all your fault. And still, so God didn't turn his back on you. God still was there with an open arm. So Ezekiel was to make his forehead like flint. And he tells Ezekiel here, Lady Deborah, he says, moreover, he said unto me, son of man, eat that thou findest. But I keep telling y'all, you got to get the right whooping before you'll eat it. Because you see, you'll look at it and you say, that's too hard. But when you get to the place that the Lord is just like that next breath that you're getting ready to take. You ever seen a person that's trying to get that next breath? I'm talking about somebody got asthma or something. You know, they ain't thinking about who got what car. They ain't thinking about who said what. They trying to get that next breath. And when you get desperate for God, the Bible says, he that hunger and thirst after righteousness shall be filled. You ought to ask God to give you a hunger for him. You ought to ask God, because until you get a hunger for something, you must have a passion for what you do. And that's the reason I was telling somebody, I said, well, you know, I never desired to be a prosecutor or anything. And let me just tell you, I had my first case today, and I won it. God bless you. But I never desired, and they said something that I think is true. They said, well, Vandal, you know, what God has for you, you don't find it, it finds you. It finds you. Your calling finds you. You're not looking for it, but it finds you. And so he tells him, son of man, when you find this that I got for you, go on, eat it. And Brother Davis, you have to get your eyes off of people and quit worrying about what they're going to say about you. Have you ever noticed that when you start to do better, that's when folks really start to criticize you? I ain't talking about folks on the outside. I'm talking about your own relatives and where they are now. Oh, you holy roller now, huh? And I always want to bring up what used to be, but how many know that was then and this is now? I don't have to stay where I was in order to be all right with you. That's all right. Eat this roll and go speak unto the house of Israel. You see, by God being married to Israel, he cared about Israel. By him being married to Israel, you see, there's a difference between being married and a girlfriend, boyfriend. You know, your little heart might be hurt when they walk off and whatever, but you'll be all right. For too long, you'll be looking for another boyfriend or girlfriend. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. I know folks that done got married more than once to the same person. Don't I, Tara? Thank you, Jesus. You are back up. It's something about that marriage bond. I'm going to tell you. It's something about that marriage bond that'll bring you back, because that's what God has ordained. And so when God put folk together like that, it's just your mind will get foolish and you might wander or whatever, but it'll bring you right on back in. And so he tells him, he said, go speak to Israel. Amen. Now, when you get through with folk, if you can walk off with folk and you through like that you didn't never love them, no way. You didn't never love them. But now how many know that you can get to the place you say, well, you know what, I ain't gonna say nothing, and the next thing you know, your fingers be dialing. Well, they don't do the dialing no more. I don't know, they be punching things. I'm showing my age, ain't nobody dialing no more. You know what I'm talking about. So Ezekiel says, so I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. Look at your neighbor, say, ain't you glad you ate it? Ain't you glad you ate the roll? And you can tell who ate it and who ain't ate it. You can tell. Well, what's the roll, Pastor? That's when you come to the end of your roll. That's when you don't trust you no more. You got no more confidence in you, and you feel like that if the Lord don't help me, I ain't gonna be able to stand this storm. And so when God told him to eat it, and there's a purpose for it, Brother Robert Wright, God never blesses you for you.
That's right. That's right.
God don't bless you for you, but God blesses you and sends you to a people. He send you to somebody. You ever been somewhere talking to somebody and you say, I wasn't even going around this way, and now I see now why I came by here. And boy, I'm telling you what, they might feel better, but you feel like you walking up here. There's nothing like being used by God. There's nothing like being of use. There's nothing like letting God use you. And so he said, I opened my mouth and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. And he said unto me, Son of man, go, get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them, for thou art not sent to a people of strange speech or of an hard language, but to the house of Israel. Look how God loves Israel. Now you must understand that at this time, God has really divorced Israel. Oh, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. Turn over to Hosea 2. Hosea 2. No, it's Jeremiah 3 and 8. I want to come back to that, so let me see. Jeremiah 3 and 8. Jeremiah 3 and 8. I just have to start at the first verse. He said, they say if a man put away his wife. You see, you got a wife, but she ain't acting like your wife. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing to you. That somebody come to you, man, and say, man, ain't you married to such and such? And you know, folk love to tell, all they love to tell you about. And so well, I seen her, said she was over there with somebody else. And you know, now they got these cell phones and everything. They take a video and send it to you. And see, now I'm going to tell you something. I was glad when I found out that God got feelings. Because y'all had made God such a cool, impersonal entity. Y'all had not made God. How could he care about me? He didn't have no feelings. He could just send folk to hell, and he had no kind of compassion. But he said, they say if a man put away his wife and she go from him and become another man, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? Now see, that's something that you in love then. You got a wife then. You know she done gone off and been with everybody and everything, but you tell her, come on. Come on back home. Come on back home. Now, you know, when I was coming up, a person told me, he said, I'm going to marry a virgin. I don't want nothing but a virgin. You married a woman, had a baby. I know she wasn't no virgin. You know, I had got a baby. Well, I'm just talking about what you talking about, what you want. And how it's going to be and all that. But see, God have to teach us about love. I'm talking to grown folk tonight. You talking about what you will put up with and what and everything. But if you love somebody, if you love somebody, I'm trying to tell you, if y'all seen Lady Deborah up on top of the courthouse up there, I'm going up there and get her and put some clothes on and everything and tell her, don't you tell nobody else now. I mean that from here to heaven, because I love her. So when you love folks, you don't throw them away. You love folks, you don't throw them away, because ain't nobody gonna have no perfect record. I don't know what everybody talking about. You know, that's how come folk can't stay married now. It ain't no marriages and this and that, because they looking for something perfect. Ain't nothing perfect. If you're dealing with a human being, you got all kind of mess going on. And then folks ain't learned how to keep their mess to themselves. Here you are, you getting on that phone, you going telling everybody what your husband did and everything. Then next time we see you, you're right with them. And like, what you should have just kept it to yourself. There ain't nobody business. There ain't nobody, they listen to you, but they ain't telling you what's going on in their house. I got some relatives like that. I learned how to be quiet. They sit up and just listen to you, but they ain't never said nothing about their children. What's going on with them? But they want to know all about what child. Really? What he made last semester? You ain't told me nothing about yours, what they making. Keep your business to yourself. He says here, what I said, Jeremy, he said, shall not that land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers. He talking to Israel. I was married to you. He said, but you played the harlot with me, yet return again to me. See, what God is doing is, right here, he's disclosing his love. He's disclosing his love. And I tell y'all all the time, that's why we love mama. That's when mama died, we about to fall out. We got to, because you ain't nobody gonna never love you like that no more. Good as I love Lady Deborah and everything. When I got on that crack and everything, she said, got to go see you. I got to go on tell the truth. She didn't say, mama, you got to go find your mammy. She did say it. She did say it. My little clothes and stuff, you know how when you go to the grocery store, they put all that stuff in them little plastic bags? She found all them plastic bags, put my clothes in them and stuff, because my mama would come, I was staying with my mama. Mama would come and get my clothes. She put all of them out there in front of on B Street. You wasn't no but a little boy. She put all of it out there in front of the thing. In other words, whoever want to come get them can come get them. He ain't nothing to me. You know, your mama don't never see nothing bad about you. Now, I done smoked crack and done all that. Done spent the woman check and done all that. You know what she said, mother? She didn't have to do you like that. She didn't have to treat you. But you know what? She hoped me. Because I promised the Lord I never would put myself in that kind of situation no more. We might break up, but I tell you what, I ain't gonna be broke when you leave. You can stand it a little better when they leave and you ain't broke. He said, look what he says. Yet return again to me, saith the Lord. Turn over to Ephesians. Let's go to Ephesians. Say amen for Brother Vandal Bland Jr. coming in. I tell you what, that and Brother Jeremy, that was second. God bringing them in. Christmas time, them Negroes must think they're gonna get a Christmas present or something. Ephesians, the first chapter. Look what he says here. That's not what I want. Go over to Ephesians. I want to say 2. No, Ephesians 3. Ephesians 3. Look what he says here in verse 14. For this cause I bow my knees unto the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, of whom the whole family in heaven and earth is named, that he would grant you, according to the riches of his glory, to be strengthened with might by his Spirit in the inner man, that Christ may dwell in your hearts by faith. You see, they taught us none of this right here. This right here is this is real meat right here. Until you get this right here, and then you run around talking about something. Ooh, I sure need to get close to the Lord. Ooh, I'm this year right here, I'm gonna get stronger. I'm gonna get stronger in the Lord. But Paul here prays to mature Christians who see God only wants you to believe him. God says something, and he wants you to believe him. You see, that's how God manifests himself. Without faith, it's impossible to please him. If you get a word and get an understanding of what the word is saying and you believe it, you're getting ready to get promoted right then. It don't make no difference the pastor don't like you. It don't make no difference what you used to do or what's going on right now. If you believe God, and that's the reason Paul says here that I'm praying that Christ may dwell in your hearts by faith, not by your feelings. See, we have attended church according to how we felt. That's how come we love revivals. And then we have our special musicians that come out. And girl, when she sang, I can just feel chill bumps all over me. You know, and that's fine. But you know, think about this right here. You done got chill bumps from a lot of things. I ain't talking about you, Gene. You done got too old. I'm talking about the other folk. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a headache. But I'm talking about me and you both. But a lot of things that have made us feel good wasn't a bit of good for us. So this ain't about feeling good. So we just come to church to feel good. But see, when you believe, see, you stand by faith. And that's the reason that in Ephesians, Paul says, above all, taking up the shield. I'm going to tell you something. There's a storm coming. That your faith is the only thing that's going to cause you to stand. I promise you now. I promise all hell going to break loose. And the only thing that's going to take you through. That's the reason when Jesus prayed for Peter, he said, I'm just praying that your faith don't fail. If I have a witness that the only way you made it is that you held on to your faith. Like Lady Deborah said, you can't make me doubt him. I know too much about him. Ain't nothing. Money is short. People treat me funny, looking at me. It looked like all of it happened in one day. Have you been around people and everything was fine, and then you just walked up on them one day and you say, is this me or what? They look like everybody up in here acting funny today. He says that Christ may dwell. And you see, we're still talking about God being married to Israel. See, it's a covenant. It's a relationship, and it's not based on feeling. If you just married because of how you feel, baby, the feeling going to pass. There's going to come a day that you look at that Negro, and you're going to get to the place that I had made Lady Deborah so sick that she look at my mama and get sick. Look at Oh, it go way back from that now. My mama used to look at my daddy and just look at something there, and I said, why don't she leave him alone? She'll take her hand and put it on his nose and do like, look, you didn't tell him, say, you just like your big keg-head mammy. Now, what black man gonna sit up here and listen to that right there? Now, she done started it. Now we mad because you done hit my mama, but look, we ain't think about what the mama did. It ain't what they told us, y'all. It ain't what they told us. It's time to quit. We walk by faith and not by. All I need today is to find out. That's reason I'm glad to be over here, because I'm finding out what God said. Come hell or come high water. If I got a job, I don't have a job. You like me, you don't like me. If I'm acting right or I'm not acting right. Because that used to keep me messed up. Because sometimes, mother, I would be real spiritual. Sometimes, man, I'm just walking around and talking in these and thous, and I'm reading my Bible and whatever, and I hit one of those spots and zigzag, man, and don't look like I ever known God, and I'm on a binge, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And they talking about something, you backslid. I ain't backslid. That's just human beings. I cannot consistently do nothing. And so then I must believe God. I said, God, I'm still who you said that I am. Yeah. And that's when Paul is praying that I'm praying that Christ dwell in your heart by faith, not by the way you feel. Yes. You know, that's how come most folks don't exercise. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. They don't want to be in the shape they're in. They don't want to feel like they feel. And then they looking at folk that do work out and they say, honey, I wish I would. But ain't no wishing. Ain't no use of wishing. You got to do like Nike. Just do it. You just got to do it. But you can't do it, can't do nothing. You can't stay married. You can't raise children. I'll never forget a brother named Brother Abraham that told me. And the only thing that's helped me is that I said, Lord, let me listen to somebody that got some sense, because I ain't got no sense. Let me listen to somebody that got some sense. And Brother Abraham told me this right here, and he was having troubles. He had a 12-year-old girl that was going out the window at nighttime with older boys and the men and stuff. That's trouble. That's trouble. That's his child. That's his daughter. And going on. But you know what he told me? He said, Brother Bland, he said, stick with your kids. He said, stick with your kids. Don't listen to these foolish folks talking about something. Girl, if I had that boy, you need to send him to the farm school. You need to do this right. God ain't gave you that child for you to turn him over to nobody and whatever. And you know, Valor Jr. was little and stuff and everything. He acted like he was having psychosis, bipolar. They wanted to put him on medication and all that. And he going to the school, talking to the, I wonder how come the people looking at me funny when I come to school. He going to the school, talking to the counselor, Miss Johnson, that my dad on crack. So that's a couple. That's how come I act like, I wonder how come they looking up upside my head funny. They petting him up and everything. Then he had that thing, he go to act like he acting like he bipolar. I'm finna ride this Bronco right here. My mom and dad stayed with me, and it made no difference how crazy I was, that you my child. I ain't finna turn you over to nobody. I ain't finna put you on no medication that have you walking around like a zombie or whatever, and turned out to be a finer man as I ever known in my life. But you got to stick with it you got to stick with what you'll never make it. I don't care, you'll never do nothing. I know at least one person that everything they start, they never finish. Never finish. 1 minute they doing this right here, and it never finishes. Suppose we were like that with the church. Think about how many people wouldn't be blessed if when you run up on a hard spot, you got to walk by faith. You got to know that you know. Is that right, Brother Brim? You got to know, and you got to stick with it. And if you stick with it, you'll be a blessing to people. You'll be a blessing to people. That's right. Well, Nana raised all them girls there by herself and everything. I know many times you just want to, and all black women will say that in a minute, won't they? I'm finna run off. My mom used to say it all the time. So I'm gonna leave all of y'all. I want to say, me too. I can understand how you leave Percy and Junior and them, but I'm the baby. I'm firstborn. Ain't went nowhere. Ain't went nowhere. You stick and you stay. And the biggest, making money is good, buying cars is good, clothes and all that, but you wouldn't feel as good about yourself if you had not persevered, if you had not held on. And mother, let me tell you this right now, I'm gonna shake your hand. It helped you to stand when folk go to talking about you. You see, because I don't care who you are, somebody gonna have something to say. I remember one time I was down by Helena Crossing. And I was at that service station down there. And the Reverend, I can call his name, he dead now. Reverend Harrison was down there and he was getting some gas. And he gonna go to talking about Robert. Well, Robert, yeah, the only thing, now he was Robert pastor. And Robert left there and wouldn't go back and everything because of some things, money and whatever. And Robert, I couldn't make, Robert did almost anything I tell him to do, but he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't go back. He said, no, He said, if you ever start a church, I'd be right there, but I'm not gonna do. But he gonna go to talking about Robert. And so Robert, yeah, he all right and everything, but he walked off and he left that woman and whatever. I stopped him right there. I said, hold on. I said, you don't know what you're talking about. I said, you don't know what you're talking about. I said, Robert left because he had to. He had to leave the house, and even though he left the house, he still cut the yard over there. He still makes sure her bills are paid. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. You got to stick in the stay. So he says here, I'm praying that Christ dwell in your heart by faith, that you being, look what he said, rooted and grounded in love. Let me tell you something, Mother Bland. If you ever walk away from love, you ain't nothing but a fool. You ain't nothing but a fool. I seen a many doctors like that. They were nerds and didn't have nobody when they come along, and the little cross-eyed girl loved them and they married her. Put them through school. And she didn't care because he was pigeon-toed. Couldn't have talk. She didn't care. Got about 3 or 4 parts in the hair, part in his hair, and couldn't dress none whatsoever. He messed around and started making $300,000-$400,000 a year. Then somebody else will dress you in. You don't have to worry about it. Driving a BMW and everything. Next thing I know, you done left your wife. You left your wife. Walter Payton, y'all remember he was in Chicago, played with the Bears? Walter Payton walked out and left his wife. Found out he had cancer. All that big old man crying just like a little girl. Guess who had to stay with him in his last day? You walk off from love. And that's what God was trying to tell Israel. God was trying, but see, the first thing about it is that they have not sufficiently conveyed to us the love that God has. Because what they told me, Sister Nell Trice, was if you live right, then God will do this and God will do that. If you pay your tithes, then God will do this and God will do that. Well, God just like everybody else. If you scratch his back, he'll scratch your back. And that's what I saw at church. We went to their church and whatever. Then they came to our church or whatever. But when I found out about God's amazing grace, Crystal, it made sense to me, because I said, oh, no. Somebody had to be with me when I was on Highway 49 in that little raggedy Vega and turned that Vega over and got home some kind of way. I don't even know. They told me, say I went and sat on a woman's porch and everything, and she brought me home. And then God took care of me when I didn't even know. I said, it had to be a God. It didn't make no sense to me, Mother, that when you got wrong, God walked out from you. Then you begin to teach me about the love of God. And that's what he's trying to tell Israel. He said, look, I love you. I married you. I chose you. When you marry somebody, you choose them above everybody else. You choose them above everybody else. Now, you think they don't care nothing about it. Say something about it. Say something about somebody. Now, you sit up and let somebody talk about your husband or wife, you are a fool. You are all a fool. Now, I talk about them long as I want to. But you can't say nothing. You can't say nothing about them. So he says, if you get rooted and grounded in love, and it's what he's talking about, Mother, is an understanding of love. You see, that's the reason that I can't hang with them, because they don't have no understanding. You don't have no understanding. They so scared as crash ain't. They think they going to hell about anything if they listen to a certain kind of music or whatever. And I'm telling you what, we living in the golden age of music. You ain't even got to buy it. It's just free. I'm just telling you, man. I'm telling you, I can listen to anything I want to listen to. Get on YouTube, and I don't care if it's something I'm way back or whatever. You know, it used to be back then, you had to go find an old store and find this album and put it on a thing or whatever. You just listen now. Thank God I'm away from them folk. Made me throw all my albums away. He said, if you be verse 18, if this happened to you, Vander Jr., then you may be able to comprehend. You see, you can't really appreciate your wife. You can't appreciate who loves you until you comprehend it. And that's how come as we get older and everything, that I tell y'all all the time, I am so grateful that the Lord let my mom and daddy live long enough for me to appreciate them. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I would have been you. It would have hurt me. It got, and they gone and everything. I said, I sure wish that I had showed them more about how I loved them. And he said, that you may be able to comprehend. Brother Davis, let me say this right here. I just want to come out and shake your hand. The Lord probably just want me to touch you. It's something when you get an understanding. Some things don't bother you no more once you understand it. Mm-hmm. Them folks up there I deal with, I can come in, I can come out. They think I'm a perfect gentleman. They think it is because I know what to say and what not to say around me. I don't play with you. The old folks don't want to say, if you play with trash, you get your ass. You don't fool me. I ain't got to get 61. I understand some things about you. It ain't what you say, it's what you don't say. It don't. And you said too much and everything. You mess around, them words come back, and you won't be able to swallow. And so he's saying about God, I'm praying that you be able to comprehend. Notice that he does not pray anything like what they want us to have. They always want to talk to us about a car, a house. God gonna do this right here. And then they always talk about being worry-free. You ain't gonna have no problem. This is the last moment. That's not life, y'all. They done put us off in La La Land or whatever. Before I came to Manassas, I used to watch, like I'm in class or something. Somebody wake up another trice. Poor Netta. I'm just preaching everything, and Netta doesn't look at me. I used to watch, she back there. Jean, she think this is 805 Beta. She supposed to keep it. Yes, your members back there. I used to watch, what's that, TBN? I used to watch TBN all the time. I mess around and start coming to Manasseh and whatever, and that stuff they talking about on that is crazy as a vegetable. What? God ain't like that. What y'all talking about? Y'all can't give so much money and I command God to whatever. Well, I'm going to give you my money. If I got some money, I'm blessed. Why don't I just try to make it off of what I got instead of like I'm going to the casino, putting it in there thinking I'm getting ready to double my money? It's just crazy. But that's when you don't have no understanding of God. But I believe, Brother Dave, God wants you to have an understanding of him. If you love somebody, you really want them to know you. You really do. Look what he says. He says, that you may be able to comprehend with all saints what is the breadth and length and depth and height, and to know the love of Christ, which passes knowledge, that you might be filled with all the fullness of God. Then he says, goes on to give his, he says, now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we may ask or think. In other words, you don't have to worry about it. Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, that the things that God have prepared for them that love him. Look what, let's go over to chapter 4. He got us here. We got about 5 minutes. Let's just follow this line right here. So Paul says, since you know that he loves you. I don't know, I was married for years before I finally realized that my wife loved me. I don't know why. It was just, I thought it was just a game. That, I knew what to do to push her button. She knew what to do to push mine. And it was like a competition. Who gonna come out in head today? And then God have to send the right storm through. You see, if God send the right storm, come here, Van Jr. Y'all might be separated like this right here, like that. But if it get cold enough, y'all, if it get cold enough, you see what I'm saying? And you ain't doing it because you care that much about each other, but you're doing it trying to survive. God will send the right storm that y'all have to come together in order to survive. And then you realize that, hey, you know what? I got somebody. Because if you got somebody that the only time they can stay, now you trying your best. Now you don't want me to sit down. You going back to sleep. We never about through. If you got somebody, the only time they with you is when things going well, you ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing at all. But when you find out you really got, they talk about a ride or die, all that day number, just a bunch of stuff, but you find you really got a ride or die, you find out that whether you're up or whether you're down, I'm telling you. And my mom and dad just inspire me. They inspire me. And see, I know all the troubles and the problems that they had. It ain't been pretty. But them Negroes love each other. Them Negroes love each other. When you're the kids, it's kind of nasty. Because one time, my mama had been in the hospital, and I took my dad up there, the Baptist to get her. And we got her and put her in the car. And he gonna talk about something. I got my lover back. I was like, I want to throw up. That's my mama. So that's my mama. He said, that's my wife. I got my lover back. Then she gonna talk about my little Marie. Mama, that's nasty. Like Lil J, when sometimes Lil J be around me and Deborah just act like we kissing. Like, well, they love man himself. He know he love it. Y'all pray for my grandson. He growing up. Rabbit. Right, I'm saying that y'all know what I'm talking about. They got a video where Deborah said it's time for him to close. They got a video where Little Rabbit getting baptized, and then on it, Crystal, Mother Nun, you know Mother Nun, and now she let the Lord have his way, and her little grandbaby going up underwater, and all you can hear is Mother Nun in their back. They taking Little Rabbit out there. But that ain't bad and stuff. It's on Facebook, and then Valerie gonna write down there, they take a little rabbit out there. Clap your hands for the Lord.